Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Thursday evening and there is plenty to talk about. We're talking about Alexander Isak. I don't think that's going to be an enjoyable conversation. We're going to be talking about Mosquera, who may or may not have just been announced. I am once again anticipating that he gets announced at 5 p.m. So my sources have told me. We will figure that out in a second. We're going to be talking about Benjamin Sesko. He's just annoyed me today, to be quite honest with you. And we're going to be talking about what Arsenal need to do next. Of course, we'll be talking about yesterday's game as well. And there are absolutely loads of you here, which we love to see. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. We're less than 150 subscribers away from 22,000 subscribers. Unbelievable support. And if you could click the like button, it's free to do. Massively helps me. I would be incredibly grateful. There we go. Lots of people in the chat are now saying that it has been announced as expected. So there we go. We'll go through the announcement and everything that has been said on that shortly. VV Vlad's in here. Ethan Udal, Al Cesar, Anu Brata is here as well. Hyper, good to see you. Emilio, John P, Giles Allen. It is good to see you. Josh, Eli, Ryan, Pekka, Dominic, loads of you in here. So many green names, so many green names. Tawanda, thank you very, very much for the $1.99. No message with it, just some support. Tawanda, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Hannah, AFC Hims here as well. Yeah, he's been announced. He has been announced. Do you know what? We'll wait for a moment because last time it took a while for the Arsenal website to actually update, didn't it? So, I mean, he had been announced by basically everyone other than Arsenal for the last however long. Obviously, when Madueke got announced, they accidentally released one of the pictures of him being interviewed at Arsenal. We then knew he was on the flight to Singapore. And then today, someone actually got a selfie in Singapore with Mosquera, Raya, Kepa, and Zubamendi. So all of the Spanish boys. So yeah, it was already announced, and he had already announced that he was leaving Valencia on his own social media as well. So yeah, it didn't exactly come as a shock at 5 p.m. that we've had that announcement. Is Ekatike confirmed? Yeah, Ekatike is confirmed to Liverpool. Yeah, they confirmed. I mean, it was subject to like a work permit thing, but I'm pretty sure he's already joined them on their tour. So if Liverpool do get Isak, we have to get Eze and Rodrigo. Yeah, look, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. It's a crazy situation, to be honest with you. Still waiting for the Arsenal website to update with the Mosquera stuff. Gyokeres versus Tottenham, hopefully. Hopefully. We'll talk about Gyokeres and the situation with him. Could we potentially keep Nelson and sell Martinelli and Trossard and bring in a Rodrigo? Like, feasibly, we could, yeah. There's nothing to stop us doing that other than needing to find buyers for Trossard and Martinelli that want to pay an acceptable amount. I mean, it's infuriating watching, Liverpool need to raise money and you've got Bayern Munich about to offer them 80 million euros for Luis Diaz. Like, I don't understand why we can't get this, to be honest with you, but we can't. So someone just said it is on the website. Here we go. Here is Mosquera signs. We'll bring it up on screen, if you bear with me for a second. Here we go. Mosquera signs. Let me get rid of that as well. Oh, how do I get rid of this? Hide. There we go. Right. Mosquera signs. Well, there's loads of stuff here. Where's just the... Oh, I need to click on it. Here we go. Mosquera signs. There are the boys. Jim, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. That is incredibly generous. Says, for money, or for pounds, Eze and Rodrigo approves us more than Isak. Possibly, yeah. Possibly. Given that we've already done Victor Gyokeres. But Jim, thank you very, very much for that $4.99. So on Mosquera, we're delighted to announce that Spain under-21 international Christian Mosquera has joined us on a long-term contract. The 21-year-old defender arrives from Valencia, where he made 90 appearances in all competitions. Christian was with Valencia's academy from the age of 12, progressing through the youth ranks before making his first team debut in the Copa del Rey as a 17-year-old in January 2022. His first La Liga appearance came just days later, starting at the Mestalla in a 1-1 draw against Sevilla. Ahead of the 23-24 campaign, Christian was officially promoted to the first-team squad, soon becoming an integral part of the club's defence. Last season saw Christian start 37 of 38 league matches in the campaign, playing every minute during those 37 appearances. Born in Spain and also eligible to play for Colombia, Christian has made 34 appearances at youth level for Spain between under 15 and under 21 levels. He was also a member of the gold medal winning squad at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Sporting director Andre... Now, this is where we get into the bits of understanding what it is that the club sees about him. Sporting director Andre Berta said, "We're very happy and excited to have signed a hugely talented young player in Christian Mosquera. We identify Christian as one of the strongest young defenders in European football, and he is an important signing for our future. Christian is a versatile defender who will strengthen our squad. We cannot wait to see him playing for us. Together with everyone at the club, we warmly welcome Christian and his family to the Arsenal." Mikel Arteta added, "We're delighted to welcome Christian to Arsenal as a 21-year-old defender. Christian has already performed consistently well with significant experience in La Liga. He's an intelligent player with good pace who can play centrally and on both sides." There we go. He's going to be playing at fullback. He's a young player with exciting talent and enormous potential who will fit well into our squad as we continue to prepare for next season. Christian adds good quality to our squad, and we look forward to working with him and making him feel at home with us. From all of us, we welcome Christian and his family to the club. Christian will wear number 3 and will join up with the squad on the preseason tour in Asia. So there you go. He's taking Kieran Tierney's shirt number as well. Interesting. Apple doesn't allow YouTube memberships. Oh, we got a super chat from Josh. $4.99 from Josh. Thank you very, very much. Says, "For some reason, I can't gift a membership on my phone." Don't worry about it. But I massively appreciate the $4.99 from you, Josh. The support, as always, is greatly appreciated. So there you go. That's Mosquera. So we're looking at, versatile, young, massive ceiling, can play either side of right centre-back. I like it. Rather invest in the squad like we have than spend the majority of our transfer budget on Isak, probably. Yeah, look, we'll talk about the whole Isak thing. Timber left back, Mosquera right back. Do not sleep on Benjamin White. That is what I would say. Do not sleep on Benjamin White. No, it's just extra depth at the end of the day. I mean, I would find it strange to see him at left back. To be honest with you, I would find that strange. But you never know. Someone's just said Ornstein on Sesko. Excuse me. Right. Well, we're going to talk about Sesko. I'll tell you what. Sesko was one of the extra bits, but we'll talk about it now, seeing as I pulled it up. David Ornstein. Newcastle United are exploring a move for Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig in case Alexander Isak leaves. 22-year-old Leipzig forward, subject of long-standing Newcastle interest and a top target should Isak depart. Deal challenging from a financial perspective. Now, this was the annoying thing about this whole Benjamin Sesko situation. Fabrizio Romano said this today. He said, "There's a gentleman's agreement between Benjamin Sesko and RB Leipzig." Yeah, well, we heard that before, didn't we? "The price tag for limited clubs could be reduced to a range of 70 to 80 million euros plus 5 to 10 million euros in add-ons. This is only valid for clubs considered special by Sesko." So, based on those ranges, you could get him for as cheap as 70 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons, if your club is considered special by Sesko. Now, first of all, that isn't a special price. That's what Benjamin Sesko is probably worth. If it was the top end of that range, by the way, if it was 80 million euros plus 10 in add-ons, 90 million euros, I think that's more than what he's worth anyway. So they've got a gentleman's agreement that they'll let him go for a fair price if a special club comes in. Now that begs the question: did he consider Arsenal a special club then? Were we being offered a special price, which was still too much, or were we not a special club in Benjamin Sesko's mind? I can't believe he's still having these gentlemen's agreements with Leipzig, who have no interest in his future. But also, The biggest stumbling block with that deal was never the actual price anyway. The biggest stumbling block with the deal was that Leipzig didn't want to accept any sort of flexibility with the structure of the payments. So really, this has nothing to do with a special price for a special club. It was always a problem that they weren't willing to come down from basically wanting a huge amount of it up front. So I don't know what I don't know what this means. I don't know what it means for Newcastle United. Obviously, if Newcastle United cash in on Isak for 150 mil, they can afford whoever they want. But yeah, I just think that whole situation is weird. Eli, thank you very, very much for the $2. More like special by Klopp. Yeah. There's one special club, and it's Liverpool, according to Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, no, I've got no idea. Fab quote tweet on Sesko. We'll see what Fabrizio said. I mean, this sounds like it's moving, which, by the way, this is adding more and more. This is adding more and more weight to the fact that Alexander Isak really could be leaving this summer. Yeah, Fabrizio had said previously, understand Newcastle are attentive to Benjamin Sesko, with Isak now keen to leave. Newcastle informed on Sesko deal costs while working on multiple deals, including Vissa from Brentford. I just think that whole situation's a joke. I don't think Sesko's got the mentality. When you look at everything that Gyokeres did to get the move, I just haven't seen that from Sesko. And if he ends up at Newcastle United, if he ends up at Newcastle United when he could have gone to Arsenal, that's on him. That is on him. Isak's gone and it's all Bayern's fault. What the club decides is reasonable to pay. What club decides it's reasonable to pay 80 million for a 28-year-old Diaz? Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is the thing. Look, we'll talk about Isak. So the situation with Isak, Ornstein said Alexander Isak wants to leave Newcastle United. Absence from Celtic friendly and Asia tour was the 25-year-old's preference. Nothing to do with an injury. Newcastle keen for the Swedish international striker to stay on an improved deal, but they are exploring potential replacements. Fabrizio said, understand Alexander Isak remains a target for Liverpool, even after signing Ekitike, but it depends on Newcastle. If Newcastle do open the door to an exit and Liverpool sell Luis Diaz, they can bid after direct contact made 10 days ago. Sami Mokbel said Arsenal have previously been credited with an interest in Alexander Isak and had the budget, but they have since turned their attention to Victor Gyokeres and are close to finalising a deal. So it's not looking good, Brev, is basically what I would say. If Alexander Isak is going to move this summer, it will be to Liverpool. It will not be to Arsenal. That's the reality of this situation. We have had interest in him. We've had the longest standing interest in him of any of the Premier League clubs. But he's not going to move to Arsenal this summer because we've spent the budget elsewhere. So he could end up at Liverpool. If Liverpool sell Luis Diaz and sell Darwin Núñez, they will be able to afford to go and get Isak, which is crazy. So then it comes down to, is he going to move this summer? Newcastle don't want to let him leave. He does still have 3 years left on his deal at Newcastle. And according to an article, the very first article this morning that came out and said Isak wants to leave Newcastle United, it was Craig Hope in the Daily Mail. He said it is still Newcastle United's preference that Isak stays, even if that means losing him next summer instead. So if they hold on to him, maybe because they look at the Champions League and they want to be in the Champions League again for next season, maybe if they hold on to him, there's a chance that we can go in for him next summer, which I still think would be very difficult, but more possible. But certainly, if he leaves this summer, that we're not getting anywhere near him. Josh, thank you for another $4.99. Do you think we will sell anyone because it doesn't look like it? Well, this is the interesting thing. Like, we should be selling. You know, there are players that need to be sold. We're getting to the point where, you know, even if you look at going into the first game of the season, there are going to be players that are going to miss out on the squad anyway. And that's going to be potentially a lot of wages being paid to players that aren't even in a matchday squad. So yeah, and to be fair, I think if we've got any chance of signing Eze or anyone else, I think we're going to have to make those sales. I really do. So yeah, thank you again though for the $4.99, Josh. I do appreciate that. Would be more than happy for Isak to go to Saudi. So would I. I would be, if he went to Saudi, it's whatever, right? We miss out, but none of our competitors improved their squad. Unfortunately, according to Fabrizio at least, Al Hilal are not preparing to make a move for him. And they were the team that were being linked to Isak. So, yeah. I don't know. It's not looking good. It isn't looking good. Unless Newcastle hold on to him. And even then, right, if we were to somehow go in for him next summer, you'd need to get Jesus off the books. He's got, I think by next summer, Jesus will have 1 year left on his deal. Need to get him off the books. But again, he'll be very, very difficult to sell because of the wages he's on. Need to get probably Kai Havertz off the books as the other one. Who, again, high wages. You could actually sell Havertz next summer for a decent amount if that was what you wanted to do. Next summer, Havertz will still have 2 years left on his deal. It's been reported teams in Germany would be interested. So you'd have to sell Havertz. Best case, like probably release Jesus. Between the two of them, that's like 550 grand a week in wages. Just terminate Havertz's contract? No, that would be an insane thing to do. What? Terminating the contract of someone that's got 2 years left and you could very easily sell for a decent amount of money would be mental. Why don't Real Madrid go for Isak? Well, that's the only other team in the world that I could see doing it. That's the problem. Bayern can't afford it. Like PSG could maybe afford it because they can afford anything really if they put their minds to it. But other than that, you know, maybe if Real Madrid were to sell Rodrigo, I still don't think that would be enough. I think they'd have to sell Rodrigo and Vinny Jr. And they don't like spending big money. That's the problem. They don't like spending big money, which makes it less likely. But I mean, if Liverpool do it, by the way, a front four going into next season of Salah, Wirtz, Ekitike, and Isak, 3 of those being 95 million euro plus signings. Crazy. Ekitike off the left for LFC. Yeah, Harry, you don't need to spam it. You don't need to spam it. You do not need to spam it. But yeah, you'd have Salah off the right, Wirtz in the middle, Ekitike off the left, and Isak up top. Be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Is Indy Kyler actually legit? Yeah, but I don't think it's Indy Kyler anymore. There's undoubtedly at this point, they have very, very good sources, particularly at Liverpool. I don't think it's the original account owner. I think, and they mentioned something recently about having now 5 journalists working for them, and that they were going to start releasing paid content or like content behind a paywall on Patreon or whatever. I think a group of in the know / journalists bought the account from the original Indy Kyler owner. And that's it. Because undoubtedly, like, they've been correct too many times, particularly about Liverpool. The chat leaderboard looking good. Come on, guys. Who's going to be number 1 by the end of the stream? Yeah, I can't even see the chat leaderboard, but shout out to whoever's top of it. You'll have to see it. Isak's body is made of toilet paper. Liverpool paying 140 mil for him is simply not worth it. I disagree. Isak last season played... How many games did Isak play last season? Isak played 42 games last season and 40 games the season before. I don't think that is... He's had injuries here and there. I think last season he had like 2 small injuries and they were contact injuries. So I don't know. I feel like it's a bit, his injury thing is a little bit overdone, is what I would say. Now, that said, can he play twice a week, season in, season out for Liverpool, which is what you would be doing? Maybe not. But I don't think that would be a major concern for them, to be honest. 40 games in a UCL season for Newcastle isn't great. It's not. But I don't know. To be fair, Liverpool also did a very good job of managing players last season. Like, whatever they changed in terms of training, or if they changed anything, I don't even know. But Liverpool's injury record last season, even on players that previously had suffered quite a lot from injuries, like Kanate, was pretty good. Why do you think they got Ekitike as well? He can play off the left, cover Isak if he gets injured, and you play Gakpo. Plus, he played 34 of 38 Prem games last season. Yeah, that's basically what I've said. Never even rated Isak. Yeah, some people trying to do revisionism, and obviously Nid's joking, but some people trying to do revisionism. Like, obviously, if we could have signed Isak, it would have been the dream. Like, he was the number one transfer target. He just was. And now I'm very, very, very happy with Victor Gyokeres, but Isak would have been number one. That is just the reality. Havertz hate is so forced. I agree. Why do you think Isak came out now and said that he wants to leave and not at the start of the window? That is something that I don't understand. And this is the thing where both with him and with Benjamin Sesko, I don't understand the way that their agents have gone about this summer. Because with both of them, they've waited until Arsenal have already signed a striker and Liverpool have already signed a striker. Now, all right, supposedly Liverpool might still be able to pull this off, but it does seem strange that they wouldn't have started trying to force those moves before these deals had been done. Havertz signing killed the project? No, it didn't. Literally, the first season of Kai Havertz, we got 89 points. Scored the most goals we've ever scored in a season. Would you sell Odegaard for Isak? I mean, yeah, but he wouldn't be the first. The problem is, if you sold Odegaard, you'd have to go and buy a creative midfielder. Like, there's no way that we could war a trophy. Okay, you're just a troll. There's no way that you could go into a season with only one Airy and kind of Max Dowman, but not really. So if you sold Odegaard, you'd have to go and replace him too with someone. Isak doesn't seem to like us much, so I don't think he'd come to us anyway. I think it's hard to tell who a player likes, really. Hi, Rory. Love the content. Do you think we will sign another attacker regardless of if we sell Nelly or Trossard? I think we'll have to sell at least one of them. Dude's a clown. Yeah, a little bit. I think we'd have to sell at least one of Trossard and Martinelli based on everything that's been spoken recently. That makes the most sense. And I honestly don't know which one at this point. Like, if you could get a decent amount for Martinelli, I wouldn't be against it, to be quite honest with you. I love Martinelli, but why the hell is Reece Nelson playing better than him? Well, Reece Nelson is just, someone said Matt Law Bomber. Reece Nelson is just generally a very talented player. Like, he's an exciting player. His biggest problem is just fitness and consistency. Has Matt Law been hacked? What the hell? Matt Law has just tweeted boobs. That must either be a friend. I mean, surely a hacker wouldn't just tweet boobs. That must be one of his mates. But he's going to be fuming at them. How unprofessional. What a bomber. What a bomber. I'd rather sell both, sign Rodrigo, and ideally another backup. But okay with Nelson as the backup. Yeah, Nelson could be the backup. Nelson could be the backup. Because that doesn't necessarily rely on him being fit the whole time. But then the problem is, if he's the backup and he gets another hamstring injury, then you have no backup. That's the problem. If Nelson could have hamstrings immune from injury, he'd be such an important part of the squad, or a player who should get 50 mil minimum. I agree. If you look at him playing off the left, where he's a threat on both sides, like a legitimate threat on both sides, he would be a very valuable member of the squad. Okay, well, we'll probably ban you. Anywhere but Liverpool. It's their fault he wants to leave, and they hijack Ekitike. Very bad crack if they get both. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle fans have been in absolute meltdown today, to be fair. Not all Newcastle fans, but a lot of them. Personally, I think we just need to go all in for Rodrigo. It's what I would do. It just sounds like we don't have the money. That's like, it's frustrating, but it is as simple as that. It really does just sound like we don't have the money. And we're not seeing any movement in terms of sales. Like the only thing that came out about sales today was from Sam Tabutiu, who works for the Standard, but he specifically covers like Fulham, Brentford, Palace, I think. He said negotiations for Reiss Nelson are ongoing, with the Arsenal and Fulham discussing a loan deal with an option to buy. Like, it's criminal. It's criminal. Reiss Nelson, loan with an option, is the closest we are at this point to getting anyone out the door. It's not good enough. Malt Licky Texas, thank you very, very much for the 249. Martinelli is a headless chicken. Sell. Brutal. Thank you for the 249. Look, I think Martinelli is a good player. And there was a point in time where he was good enough to start for us. I think we've moved beyond that now. And I said it on the video yesterday, I think, or on the live stream of the watch along. By the way, shout out to anyone that watched the video that I put on YouTube yesterday from the AC Milan game. It's over 20,000 views. One of the best performing videos on the channel, which I appreciate. But yeah, I just don't think he's developed his game. You know, I look at Martinelli genuinely from 4 years ago, and I look at him now, and I don't see an improvement. Maybe he's improved, you know, tactically or something, but I'm just not seeing it. He still has his head glued to the floor when he's got the ball. He's still predictable. I think he's a good squad player, but I don't think you go into games against Liverpool, against PSG, against Real Madrid, against City with Martinelli if you really want to make sure that you win. And you know, that's tough. But the problem is, if we keep him for another season and he loses his place to Madueke, for example, right? Let's say we keep him, we don't go out and get another left winger, but he loses his place to Madueke. His value probably halves. Because I think at that point, he'd only have 1 year left on his deal, maybe 1 year plus an option, but his value will plummet. And this is where I feel like time and time again, we sell a year too late. We wait a year too long to make sales. And I find it frustrating. I do find it frustrating. Alex, thank you very, very much for becoming a member of the channel. Alex is a member. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. As always, all of the membership money goes back into this channel. So I really do appreciate that. But if there's no one there coming in for Martinelli, what do you do? What do you do? It's tough. And look, this is where Andrea Berta needs to prove himself. Right? Because this has been an ongoing problem for a long, long time at Arsenal, selling players correctly. Berta needs to prove himself. Equally, he's been left with a lot of problems in terms of selling, right? Zinchenko, no one's going to pay Zinchenko's wages. Jesus, no one's going to pay Jesus' wages, and he's injured. Sambi Lokonga was the only senior player that was in the squad for the AC Milan game that didn't get any minutes. What's the plan with him? Fabio Vieira. Don't even know where he is. Was he even in the squad? I don't think so. No, he's on holiday. He's on holiday because he was at the Club World Cup. What's the plan with him? It's a problem. It is a problem. Martinelli's wages are too high. Yeah, that's true. Apparently Martinelli's on like 200 grand a week, which at the time didn't seem too bad to tie him down. You know, this was the thing. There was a point in time where we had to give wages out to make sure players stayed at the club, or to entice players to join the club in the case of Jesus and Zinchenko. The problem is we tied them down for too long. Sell Trossard for 18 million, Lokonga for 10 million, and Fabio Vieira for 20 million. I mean, that would be the dream. But where are the offers? Where are the offers for them? That's the issue. Ian, thank you very, very much for the $5 Canadian. Rory, I love how F around and find out you are with spammers on the stream. You're done. You're done. Yeah, well, there's no point. I know some people that are here just to ruin the vibe. But Ian, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Big up, Rory. Watch all your vids. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Beals Cleaning Services. If you ever want a cleaning service, Beals Cleaning Services. What a legend. Madrid are into Konate and Saliba. Will Saliba extend? Hopefully. I mean, Hand of Arsenal yesterday reposted David Ornstein's tweet from a while ago about Arsenal being in talks with Saliba over a new contract. So, without reading too much into it, hopefully that means that the Saliba deal is being worked on. Konate, the one thing I would say about that, Konate is and always has been the easier player for Real Madrid to get because he's got 1 year left on his deal. Saliba's got 2. So, unless the plan is for them to just wait it out for 2 years for Saliba, they get Konate on a free next summer, Saliba the summer after that. I don't know, but we should be tying Saliba down. We should be tying Saliba down. We have to. Thoughts on Josh Nichols? No one's mentioning him. Yeah, look, of all of the academy players, he probably got the least, I wouldn't say respect, but the least hype after yesterday's game. He's a good player. Technically, he's very good, reads the game well. He's athletic. The only thing that holds him back at the moment, I think, is his height. You know, if you look at our defenders generally, other than Zinchenko, height is quite important. And Nichols doesn't have it. But he's probably one of those players, to be honest, and this is not to, be discouraging to him at all, but he is probably one of those players, when you look at the depth that we've got in defense, he needs to be one of those players that we bring through the right way and we put on the right path, whether it's the right loans or whatever, and then we sell him for good money. This is where we need to be improving now. You have a player in Josh Nichols who could absolutely develop into a Premier League player, you know, at a Palace or a Fulham or whoever. So we need to make sure that it's us that ends up making that sale and not another club that gets him on a free and then sells him. So, yeah, that's what we need to make sure we do. Someone said that there's another Fabrizio tweet. What's Fabrizio saying now? He hasn't said anything. Evie, thank you very, very much for the 199. Madueke is now homegrown. Yeah, that was in my notes of extra things to talk about. Gunnerblog saying Arsenal forward Noni Madueke has been reclassified as a homegrown player by the Premier League. Madueke had previously been listed in Chelsea's squad list as recently as February as non-homegrown. Now, the reason that changed, or the reason it existed, was because basically as a senior player, he never existed on anyone's books as an FA registered player. But he was at Tottenham for 3 years before he moved to PSV. So that's why he counted, which was a weird thing for Chelsea not to have figured out, to be honest with you. Tom, thank you very, very much for the 249. What's the Havertz rumours about Germany? Nothing significant. Not from any reputable journalist or anything. They've just been like, I mean, even before he came to Arsenal, there were rumours about Bayern sniffing around and stuff. So I just feel like that's something that could end up. if we were to shift Kai Havertz, that is something that could end up happening, basically. Fabrizio said Newcastle are in advanced talks with Sesko's camp. Did he? Why did he say that? I can't see it. Unless he's replied to himself, maybe. Is that what it is? No, I don't know. Typical Puma, thank you very much for the 25 knock. Thoughts on Mosquera wearing the number 3? Yeah, fair play to him. I mean, I'm interested to see just how big a role he plays this season. Like, it will be interesting to see whether or not, you know, he's kind of given a year to develop and just plays the odd cup game and stuff here and there when Saliba needs a rest, or if we're actually going to see him get sort of significant minutes. It will be interesting. It will be interesting. Yeah, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. R.I.P. Hogan and Ozzy in the same week. Sad week, sad week. Some of the extras. No, we've gone through all of the extras. Oh, yeah. So, interestingly, today as well, Declan Rice gave an interview where he spoke about Noni Madueke arriving. And he said some interesting things, to be fair. If you're to believe in what Declan Rice is saying, then we should be very excited for Noni Madueke. So he said, there's obviously been a lot of talk around his signing. I didn't like it, if I'm speaking honestly. But I know how driven he is. I've spoken to him, and you're going to see what he's about this season. As football players and players that have played with him, we know the quality he has. Now, that quote has been taken in a few different ways. So he's saying he didn't like the reaction, effectively, by some fans to the Noni Madueke signing. And some people have taken that as in, if you even remotely criticised the signing, you're a bad fan, and Declan Rice is coming at you. I think if that is the case, that's unfair. But equally, the abuse that Madueke was getting and the whole, like, no to Madueke and the bloody petition and stuff was ridiculous. No, I didn't, Gianni. Did you see the lads at Universal Studios? I didn't. I mean, I saw some pictures of them today, but I didn't see that. So yeah, I think it's one of them. Like, whenever the club makes a signing, or even in terms of players on the pitch performances, like, you're allowed to be critical, right? And for me, it was only ever the price that I was critical of. But I do feel like, you know, so there were some fans today basically saying anyone that wasn't just completely and utterly behind Noni Madueke and praising the signing is, like, not a real fan. I think that's a bit too far. You can't all just be complete happy clapping. You know, that's ridiculous. But I do think it's important that people realize that the players do watch a lot of social media. Like, we saw it with the Gyokeres, here we go. You know, instantly Miles Lewis-Skelly had seen it and was doing the celebration. You've got players liking Instagram posts and stuff. So, you know, they do consume a lot of social media. And obviously now, like, everyone should be fully behind Madueke. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit interesting. Do you think Arteta's mind about Nelson changed anything after yesterday? No, I don't, because I think Arteta's seen enough of Reiss Nelson to know what he's about. And to be fair, even when Reiss Nelson was at the club and was fit, even in that 22-23 season where he was making good cameos off the bench, Arteta still didn't really use him that much. So, you know, I don't know if Arteta massively rates him, to be quite honest with you. I didn't expect Mosquera to sound like that. I've not heard it yet. I'll be interested to hear it. Thoughts on Saka being captain ahead of Rice yesterday? Saka reckons Saka is vice captain when Odegaard doesn't play. Yeah, we actually mentioned that on the watch along yesterday, that Saka was given the captain's armband even when Rice was playing, because obviously there are a lot of people that think that that Rice should be the captain, but Arteta seemingly doesn't even think that he should be vice captain. So it's interesting. I tell you what, that was actually kind of genius from Matt Law. That was actually kind of genius. He tweeted boobs, which obviously made loads and loads of people quote retweet it and stuff. And then he's just replied to it with an article. Boubacar Kamara has signed a new contract. Boubacar Kamara signed a new contract at Aston Villa. Fair play. Fair play. I rate it. I respect it. Rice also said some other stuff on Madueke, though. So, yeah, he said that bit about how he wasn't happy with, some of the reaction to the signing. But he said he's so driven and he's proven. He wants to prove and show everyone what he can do. And I think you're going to see that. There's a hunger inside his belly. When he signed, he had 10 or 11 people with him. That excitement, it's a good thing. He's hungry. He wants to play for Arsenal. And those are the types of players we want. It's so positive. I think he's going to shock a lot of people. And I can't wait for him to come. I met him as a person with England and was blown away by his personality and character. I don't think a lot of people would have him down as that, but he's one of those people who lifts the dressing room. He really cares about his football, has high demands, and that's what shocked me about him. Then, seeing him up close on the training pitch, when he gets the ball, he just wants to beat his man. He's so positive and direct. When you're an attacking player and in your mind, the first thought is to go past your defender, I think that's an unbelievable trait. So, look, obviously, Declan Rice is going to big up a new signing. But there is a lot of positivity around it within the club, within the players. I saw a thing as well with Madueke's personal coach, who was like, he is relentless when it comes to training. He constantly wants to train. He had to be told not to go on the preseason tour. So, yeah, I think there should be some positivity with Madueke. And honestly, based on the performances of Trossard and Martinelli yesterday, and I know it's only the first game of pre-season, so you can't fully judge it, but fundamentally, they did just look like the Martinelli and Trossard, that we know. Madueke, if we don't go and sign anyone else, Madueke could end up being the starting left winger this season. Very possibly. Jordan, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. Would you sell Martinelli for 40 mil to Bayern if it blocked them from signing Diaz for 80 mil? Yes. Yes, I would. If we could sell Martinelli for 40 million, which meant Diaz wouldn't go, which means Isak wouldn't go to Liverpool, and we'd sold Martinelli, and in theory, that should allow us to definitely go and get Eze, possibly go and get Rodrigo. That's a win-win-win for me. Jordan, thank you again for the $5 as well. Do you think maybe Arsenal knew Noni was going to be reclassified? Maybe why we were more willing to dish out? Possibly. The only thing, actually, I was meant to say, going back to that reclassification thing, the only thing with that is, I believe he still doesn't count as homegrown under UEFA's rules. So, I don't know what actual effect it will have. Because if he doesn't count as homegrown under UEFA's rules, if we're playing in a European competition every season, then that still becomes... Then we're still going to need enough homegrown players to fill the UEFA quota. So, yeah. I don't know how important that was. But there we go. That would be our record sale as well. Yeah, it's crazy how bad our sales record is, to be honest with you. It's crazy. What does homegrown mean? So homegrown means... Well, in the context of the Premier League, to be classified as homegrown, you have to have been registered with an English or Welsh FA club for at least 3 years before the time you turn 21. Or during the time that you are 21. So, and you need at least 8 homegrown players in your squad. In a Premier League squad, you need at least 8 homegrown players. So, in our case, players like Saliba and Martinelli count as homegrown because they were with us from the age of 18. Okay, you don't need to tell me every time Fabrizio posts when it's got absolutely nothing to do with us. I appreciate it, Josh, but it's a post about Tejon Buchanan signing for Villarreal from Inter. I mean, it's not... We don't necessarily care about that on this channel. Villarreal got a Mosquera replacement. Yeah, but we signed Mosquera from Valencia. Do you think both Kivior and Zinni leave this summer? No. No. We'll do well to get Zinni out the door. We'll do well to get Zinchenko out the door. To be honest with you. Let alone Kivior. And in my opinion, we can't let Kivior go unless we bring in Hato or a replacement. So, and I don't think we're going to get Hato. Sounds like he's going to Chelsea, which is a nightmare. So yeah, it's difficult. I laughed when I seen Spurs were in for Rodrigo. Yeah, you see a lot of stuff like that. Less than 200 to 22k. Yeah, look, there's 600 odd of you in here. If you're not already subscribed, please do click the subscribe button. It's free, and we are on the way to 22,000 subscribers. Would you take Leao over Rodrigo? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I couldn't understand it when we were watching the game yesterday, and I'm seeing people on Twitter massively hyping up that Rafa Leao performance. I don't know what people are seeing that I'm not seeing. I'm seeing a guy who is very athletic, can generate space between himself and a defender very well, has flashes of brilliance and of fun, but fundamentally didn't really do anything in the game. That's the part that I feel like he's one of those, like, he looks great, but actually, if you actually go and look at what he actually did to affect the game, very little. The one big opportunity he had, when he did get some separation away from Saliba started catching him up, put him under a bit of pressure. He ran the ball straight out of play. I don't know. And in that team, he doesn't even have to do much defensive work either. Like, they were playing a 5-4-1 with him being the one that was just kind of left alone at times. Now, I completely agree. He would look better at Arsenal. Any player would look better at Arsenal compared to a team that's, not particularly good in Serie A anymore. But that's not the point. He's nowhere near Rodrigo's level. Nowhere near it. So yeah, I didn't get the hype. For me, yesterday, he offered no more than Martinelli. And that's where, like, the aesthetics comes into it, right? But in terms of, like, actual tangible output, he offered no more than Martinelli did. So yeah, I just don't get it. I'm amazed Milan parked the bus for 90 minutes at a preseason game. Oh, we've lost the camera. We've lost the camera. How's the camera overheated? That's ridiculous. The camera's overheated. The camera didn't overheat when it was like 33 degrees, but it's overheated now when it's like 22 degrees. That's an absolute shambles. Do you know what? Instead of spending 5 minutes trying to cool it down with a new battery and stuff and wasting your time, it was about to be the end of the stream anyway. So we're going to end the stream there with no camera. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Later on, 10 p.m., I'm going to be on Latte Firm with FK. So if you want to tune in for that, feel free. After that, I'll probably go live on Twitch as well. But other than that, have a fantastic evening. Please do like, please do subscribe, all of that good stuff. Apologies for this, and I will catch you all on the next one. There won't be a quiz because, again, there's no camera. But until then, have a good evening and goodbye.